Tony was chief of disguise 10 years before I was chief of disguise. And so he passed on some of his expertise to me. But he had a particular interest in the magic industry out in LA. So we went to LA and we posed some questions to them. They introduced us to a new concept. They said, what you are calling an operation, we call a performance. That's what we do. We put on performances. And before we start working on that performance, we have to define the stage that the performance is going to take place on. Then you have to know who your audience is. Who are you playing to? Who are you trying to fool? Once you assemble those two pieces, you can pretty much choose the time and choose the place and simply overwhelm them with your performance.
No, I am not the evil. I just misunderstood.
Woohoo! Добрий вечір.
So we went back to our disguise labs out at Langley, and we invented a whole new genre of masks. Masks that are so good, that are so realistic, that you can actually get up close, that you can brief the President of the United States, and he isn't sure if it's you or if it's someone else. That's just one small example. And I can tell you these stories because this information is no longer classified. Well, then what are they doing if they're not doing this? And I would have to tell you that I can't tell you. Because if I did, I'd have to kill you.
Just describe to me how you view this this specific election process and how you process it. What was your perspective?
Distracting, dividing. I think it exposed a lot of people how much faith and hope they actually put in a particular party. We say that we know we serve one God and that we're not of this world, and that our king is of a kingdom that is not of this world. But yet everybody was panicking over a man who was potentially going to be in the seat for only 4 years and over a woman who was potentially going to be in the seat for only 4 years.
My immigrant mother just called me on the phone innocently asking me if she should start carrying her passport.
Did you know that it is now a crime to be homeless? The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up. I'm not trying to scare us.
I think it exposed a lot of people how much faith and hope they actually put in a particular party.
Get on your feet and welcome an American hero, the voice of the future. Would you scream for Vice President Kamala Harris? 2024, and you were in the room for the first Black woman Vice President of the United States. Would you make some noise and receive our fearless leader?
And I think a lot of people, their friendships, their marriages, jobs, all of that, I think all of that just kind of came crumbling down over one man or one woman who you're not ever going to meet. You're probably not ever going to shake hands with. They're probably not ever going to know your name. Yet everybody put all their hope and their faith and their trust into being either Republican or Democrat, when honestly, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You have the right wing, you got the left wing, all of it part of the same bird. Notice they always say things that people are going to like. But I think we have to remember too, Kamala was saying things that was going to fit the people that support her, that was going to draw them in, that was going to draw the culture in. Trump was going to say things that were going to draw them in, that was going to basically support him. Politicians, they just flow with the culture, unfortunately. I don't see any strong morals with them. I kind of see, hey, if the culture is going this way, that's the way we're going to go to, just to get in this seat for 4 years.
Take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction very seriously.
You've talked about how just sick you felt to your stomach when you found out there were no weapons of mass destruction.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
We know that 26 million people laid off over the course of 4 weeks during this crisis.
They've destroyed the economy, and all you have to do is look at a poll.
Get vaccinated. It's not only good for you and your family and your community, it will have a very important impact in our country.
It shows that the Pfizer vaccine is less than 50% effective after 6 months.
Yeah.
Meantime, the U.S. Department of Agriculture issued a conditional license for an avian flu vaccine. It would be used in chickens.
A big reason for these sky-high egg prices, the bird flu outbreak that started in 2022.
Joe Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control.
We have a lot of bad people that have to get out of this country. We're going to get them out.
That was Trump last week. This was the president in 2014.
And that's why we're going to keep focusing enforcement resources on actual threats to our security. Felons, not families.
Both men say ridding the country of criminal illegal immigrants is a top priority, and both propose spending more on border security. And though Trump's constant call for a massive wall along the U.S.-Mexico border is not supported by the president, both men have been proponents of adding so-called virtual border security.
This is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally. But they can't have a situation where you just have 500,000 people pouring over the border without any kind of mechanism to control it. So we've got to deal with that at the same time as we deal in a humane fashion with folks who have put down roots here, have become our neighbors, have become our friends. They may have children who are U.S. citizens. That's the kind of comprehensive approach that we have to take. All right?
Fight. Hey, Jeff, it's Jake Lang here. Jeff, first of all, my entire heart rests in your hands. I would be in my position, not even as somebody even knew your son, but somebody that shares the same understanding. I grew up as a 17-year-old young white man too, and I grew up in fear of my life around black people because they were killing and robbing people around me all the time. And I don't understand, as I was a father, you could sit idly by and not condemn the culture that killed your son. There is an epidemic problem in this country, and your voice could be one of the loudest voices in this country, but you've chosen to recoil out of fear and continue the suppression. Why will you not stand with me? Maybe you can. Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
Are you done?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap.
According to Black Enterprise magazine, I didn't say white enterprise, I said Black Enterprise, which has been a trusted magazine with black people down through the years. According to Black Enterprise, only 4% of DEI positions in the workplace have gone to black people. You need to know that DEI is not about us. It never has been. It's for leftist white women and transgenders. But the one I want to say to preachers and others, investigate this stuff. Now you got preachers, they're staging boycotts, buyouts.
Calling the conscientious Christian community all over this country, the conscientious Christian community.
What does that even mean? The conscientious Christian community, what does that mean? Somebody please help me in the comments, what does that mean?
All over this country, I am calling for a 40-day fast from Target.
You fast to remove all distractions and fully focus on God. You don't fast for these worldly, fleshly reasons.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about the trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
Plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 That ain't true. That's what you just heard.
Costs of groceries, housing, insurance, all going up.
Prices of groceries, gas, housing,
and yes, even eggs.
Instead, he's pardoned
violent criminals who beat police officers,
who bludgeoned police officers,
savagely beat police officers.
He's allowing Elon Musk to literally take a chainsaw.
Elon Musk in charge of taking a chainsaw.
Elon Musk take a chainsaw.
a literal chainsaw to funding the government spends on you.
Giving him access to Americans' most sensitive data.
Giving Elon Musk access
to Americans' most sensitive data.
I think the biggest deception today is the message of peace. And the reason I say that is because we see politicians, which I've already voiced about, we see politicians talk about, oh, we're going to do this, it's going to bring peace. We see all these nations coming together, those summits that they go to, all of this is about peace. Jesus already said it. There's no peace that this world can give you that I'm able to give you. As long as you're in this world, there's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations. As long as there's sin here, all of that is going to be going on. So I tell people, I go to Jeremiah, where you saw the false prophets. What were they saying? They were giving these false messages of peace, these false messages of hope, telling people everything's going to be okay, everything's going to work out. And Jeremiah was like, no, you're false. God told me that you're false. You see it in the end times. Paul said that in the end times, everybody will say what? Peace, 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 peace. But then there will be sudden destruction. The biggest deception today is everybody really having this false hope for this peace, as if we're getting ready to be in the millennium. When really, like I like to tell people, no, all hell is going to break loose before that actually takes place. So you're going to have nuclear war, whether that's in the form of a missile blowing up, in the form of a virus that everybody doesn't want to talk about, in the form of some poisoning of water, if we don't want to get into that. But I mean, it's going to be some type of war that's going to take place, and it's not ever going to be truly sincere peace. So I tell everybody, that's the biggest deception today. If you're looking for that peace in the world, that does not sincerely exist. Peace can be in your heart, peace can be in your mind, as long as you have Christ. But peace in the world, no. Every nation, they're what? They're greedy. They're selfishly ambitious. You have these people, what we just talked about with the elections, fighting for a seat that they're only going to be in for 4 years. Everybody is going after one another. There's not ever going to truly be peace. And by the way, the United States is divided already. And Jesus already made it clear, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So if we have Republicans over here, Democrats over here, whites over here, blacks over here, whoever else split up, you're already divided. You cannot stand. There won't be no peace if you don't stand. So
we create a pretend world. We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Would you call it a psychological war?
There is real fear.
Was that an intention?
We want them to feel vulnerable, which they are. We've already moved on to the next thing. And they'll have to keep on trying to guess what the next thing is.
This was a big thing over at InfoWars and on the dissident right media for the longest time. The Jew hate media. Yeah, do you have my tweet that I actually put on my... So I basically, what happened, if you want to go to the first slide first before we play the video. About a month ago on July 1st, the
No, that one. Right?
There was an announcement that they were going to do a practice run of the red heifer. And prior to this, the media outrage that the Jews were going to go do this red heifer, you had these lunatics like Stu Peters and others who were saying, this is going to usher in the Antichrist, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a real big media balagan. It was really a bad twist. So they said that and also the government wasn't going to let them. So what they did was they said, we're just going to do a practice one with one of the 5 disqualified cows. The government said, okay, whatever. They ended up going out, doing a real cow. One of the cow's name was Tikva. They made the offering, and it was a real offering. They did it all by the laws, and I have with me some of the ashes right here, red heifer ashes. It's pretty incredible. The red heifer, the last time that the red heifer was done was over 2,000 years ago. The first time it was done by Moses. The second time it was done by Ezra from the book in the Bible. And that shows you how long the ashes can last for. So a pure red heifer doesn't come about all the time. And in this generation, we had 21 of them that were born. Pure. They picked 7 to bring to Israel, and out of the 7, Israel only allowed them to have 5 brought in, and they've been sitting around just doing nothing because the media outrage has been so astronomical about it. But the red heifer people, they fooled everybody, and they successfully performed the ritual about a month ago. Now, in the ritual, you're supposed to have hyssop. I have also hyssop that is from the actual ritual, and also the red heifer ashes. And these get put into a clay jar and then sprinkled on people in a healing ritual. And it removes the impurity of death and allows for people to heal. So since this started, they have been sprinkling on people. There was a man with Alzheimer's who just started remembering everything, sight to the blind. There's some real miracles that have happened in the last month since this thing has gone down. But the ashes, just like I have a little bag, there was 10.5 gallons of ashes. And this is only a dime bag full. And these ashes have been disseminated. They're here to stay. They will never be found. I have a video from the ritual, and if you want to play it, and that's Tikva. And everything was done specifically according to halacha, which is Jewish law. Mm-hmm. It was a perfect cow, and meaning that it doesn't have a single hair that is not red. And also, it could never have been burdened with work. So you can't even lean a shovel up against the cow. They have to be treated in a very specific way for their whole life. And then the person who does the ritual can never have been in contact with death. So basically, they're not allowed to go to. They have to be of a specific bloodline. And what they do was they raise these children in like these elevated homes above the ground, and they never leave the home until they're ready to do the rituals. And that's like how they never come into contact with death. So the priest who did this literally lived in his home for over 20 years before he...
Never left?
Nope. Because he was born to do this ritual.
Wow.
And now that it's been done, the Messiah can come.
So this is like the Jewish Messiah is going to come back. Would that be similar? Would that be like the return of Christ, or would it be a different
Here's
guy?
The thing. I think the most fundamental difference between Judaism and Christianity is that Judaism actually believes in reincarnation. And so the Messiah is here in every generation. And there's a process by which we are awakened enough to accept the Messiah. So if the Messiah doesn't come, he dies, he's reconstituted, born into the matrix again, and has to find his way back to another thing. We can't build the temple until this happened. Now that this happened, the Messiah can come build the third temple in Jerusalem.